easy going through a divorce. I got tired of people thinking that everything was perfect when it wasn't.
Tia, you shouldn't have to act in your life.
Oh, he's cute.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. Now, just when I thought the whole Tia Mowry saga was kind of dwindling down with the premiere of her new show, I could not have been any more incorrect. Okay, I could not have been any more wrong. Initially we saw the trailer for the TV show in which she talked about her estranged relationship with her twin sister Tamara.
It's times like this when I feel and wish that my sister and I were still close and I could, pick up the phone and call her. But that's just not where we are right now.
That we know from, Sister Sister. The two of them we know from Sister Sister.
Mom? That girl has my face!
And then it talked about her new normal as she navigates life, being, divorced, no longer in her marriage with her ex-husband, actor Cory Hardrict, and how, she was going through difficulties, even though we know that she was the one who made that decision.
I feel like one of the hardest things that I've had to adapt to is dropping my kids off at their dad's house. I've always wanted the family dynamic of having a mom and a dad in one household.
Now, in the first episode of this TV show, and I have to be honest, I did not watch the full first episode of the TV show. I saw snippets that people released on TikTok as well as some clips that I saw on YouTube. And, she ended up actually finally talking about the reason in which she decided to get divorced from her ex-husband, Cory Hardrict.
You shouldn't have to act in your life.
Yeah, that part. And that's what it was. I got tired of not being authentic, and living in my truth.
Now, I thought it was interesting that she said that she got tired of people thinking that her relationship was perfect when it wasn't.
I got tired of showing up at events and people thinking that everything was perfect when it wasn't.
A lot of people saw the Black Love interview that Cory Hardrict and Tia Mowry did, in which they talked about the trials and tribulations that people go through in marriages. Her herself, she was the one who was saying that things have been, gotten to a place at one point that things had gotten really difficult. And it was in those times of difficulty that she realized that, she was so glad that the two of them were able to actually work things out.
There are times when I'm like, wow, last year was pretty tough. Mm-hmm. But this year, it's good that we stuck, to it.
So in speaking of the facade of people thinking that things are picture perfect, in my personal opinion, I don't know if people thought that everything was picture perfect, because people with knowledge, people of maturity, people who have been in long-term relationships understand that things are not always going to be, butterflies and rainbows all the time. Like, you're going to go through ebbs and flows, not only in life, but also in relationships. And so I thought that portion of the conversation was very interesting, but then she decides to go into a little bit more detail and get a little bit more in depth of the things that she was enduring or going through within her relationship that led to the demise and led to her filing for divorce.
I would go home and feel alone. Maybe I was trying to live a fantasy. I got tired of not being authentic.
I think that this is something that's definitely worth talking about, because there are a lot of women who are in marriages, and I hear it talked about all the time. Again, whether it's on TikTok or, all these dating gurus are telling women how to, quote unquote, protect themselves and how to, maneuver within relationships with men while guarding their heart and while kind of, obtaining all of these selfish ways so that they can be, quote unquote, better off because the nice girl finished last. Like, I always hear certain parts of of this conversation. And I think that it's necessary to mention that not because you are going through things internally means that you need to end your relationship or end your marriage to be able to be the woman in which you are supposed to be. I think that this is genuinely a false narrative that is constantly being pushed by women, but not only women, by married women.
Everything's not perfect, marriage is work.
And I think that, a lot of women have this idea that for you to be healthy in a relationship, or for you to be the ideal wife, you are supposed to prioritize everybody above yourself in ways that you neglect yourself and you lose yourself. And I have to break it to you, no man has ever told any woman to do that. And if they are, that's already, if they are men that are telling women to neglect themselves, to be able to be in a certain space, to be a good wife to them, that's already a toxic relationship. That's not even the conversation that I'm having. But a lot of women decide to, again, lose themselves in their children, lose themselves in their marriages. But you have to understand that the woman that man got with in a relationship, he got with you for a reason, right? Whether it was the way that you took care of yourself, whether it was the way that you stood up for yourself, or whether it was the way that you maneuver just through life in general, there was an attraction there based off of you being a separate entity from him. Right? So you being exactly who you are doesn't mean that there's not growth that's going to be necessary. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be evolution that's necessary. But you being who you are, separate and apart from your spouse, is what is keeping the two of you together. Hence why when men get into relationships, yeah, they might, stop hanging out with certain people as much or whatever, but they always keep their identity. A lot of women lose their identity because they think that's the right way to maneuver in relationships and marriages. And then when they are completely lost within themselves, they blame it on the outside sources that never told them to put themselves in that predicament.
Yeah. And I think I lost me. Thank you for that, because I lived my life for others.
And the reason why I think it's so important to talk about that is because I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it in real life with real people I really know. And I've seen it in, the celebrity world, where we see on social media where women are constantly filing for divorce and, going through certain things. And it's important to talk about that as you grow through life and as you learn and as you change, as you age, as you evolve, you're going to have different hurdles that you have to jump through. But it's important to understand that the people who are around you, your support system, your spouse, they never asked you, and I have to keep emphasizing this because it's so important. They never asked you to let go of you. They never said that. You waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, listen, and a lot of people, I have to be honest, are not willing to do the work, right? To be able to keep identity, fulfill themselves, and also be able to extend themselves to their spouse and to their children.
Maybe I was trying to live a fantasy.
What I notice is that a lot of women have no problem taking the time and doing the work on themselves, separate and apart from everybody else. But I think that the work that it takes to work on yourself within a marriage and within a relationship, a lot of people don't want to do it, right? Like they will say, I don't have time for myself. I don't have time for me. But if you can create the time at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning when your kids are sleeping, before your husband goes to work, or before you even start your day, and just dedicate that time to you, pouring back into you, going to the gym, going for a walk, doing meditation, doing yoga, doing something that fulfills you before you start your day and you have to be something for everybody else, are you going to be able to do that? And a lot of women are not willing to do that. They don't want to do that. They don't feel like they should have to do that. But if that's what your life requires based off of the dynamics of everything that's going on, then that's the time that you should be taking to pour into you. And I have to be honest, I also believe that some women use their inability to take care of themselves within their relationship as an excuse, just because of their lack of experience. Tia also just, she mentioned within this conversation that she had never dated anybody else. And, she got into some kind of personal details about her and Cory's relationship.
I've never dated.
That's right.
I've never dated. Cory was my first.
Right. Yes.
Everything.
So I think that this is something that a lot of women truthfully don't want to express or don't want to, tell other people. They would like to hide behind somebody kind of being the problem in the relationship so that they can be free to do what they actually want to do, right? And so what a lot of women do is they will try to find fault within their marriage or within their relationship. Say, for instance, Tia said that when she comes home, she would feel lonely.
Like I would go home and feel alone.
Right? And so maybe that was an issue, maybe 10%, 20% of the time, or maybe she's feeling lonely because the two of them are not on the same terms. The two of them maybe are getting into disagreements, and she's wanting to just brush things under the rug and keep things pushing. And in actuality, relationships don't work in that magnitude, right? So you have to talk things through. You have to work through things. You have to, get to the nitty gritty of issues before you can just move forward. And maybe the reason why she was lonely was because she was unwilling to do that, right? And then she will use that issue. And I'm saying this just for an example, because this is something that I've seen a lot of women do. They will use that as leverage to be able to then walk out or ruin their relationship or step away from their relationship by saying, I was neglected within my marriage, and so now I want to do this. But in actuality, the truth is you feel as though you have not experienced enough.
So I wasn't even allowed to date until I was 18 years old. I met Cory when I turned 20, and I lost my virginity at 25. There, was that it? And then we got married, boom!
You feel as though, you done settled down, you got into this marriage with this person, you locked down, you thought that's what you wanted. Then you see other people having hot girl summers, and you realize that you never got to have one. Then you see other people living their life and dating around and trying, different races, different nationalities, different all these things. You feel as though you didn't get to do that, and so you want to now do that as well.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm in my hoe phase right now. Happiness over everything. Where's your mind?
And so that's the truth. And I think a lot of women have a hard time explaining the truth and why they break up their relationships, they break up their marriages, they diminish their family unit because they don't want to be seen as selfish. But if we dig a little deeper and if we're really honest, the truth is that being that she got with Cory at such a young age, and being that he was her first everything, she's saying that in a sense of kind of like, oh, well, ha ha ha. Like, now she has to make up for lost times, thinking that there's, again, all this green grass over there, thinking that there's going to be somebody better out there, thinking that she has to go and taste and see for it to be, recognized that she's in a real space. And that's not the truth. Not because somebody has, been around the block or had a lot of different partners or whatever means that they are more experienced, or not even just more experienced, but they are in a better space to find a partner at that part. There's a lot of women who are very experienced, who have been with a lot of different people, who have very hard times with commitment and wish that they would have been able to get to the stage that you have been, to actually, connect with somebody and marry somebody and be with somebody who is willing to work through troubles and work through pain with them. But they have a hard time doing that because since they have, been around and around, sleeping with this person, sleeping with that person, it's hard for them to maintain a relationship because they always get that itch back. They start to get bored. They start to crave the new.
Oh, it's cute.
I also think that the company that you keep is very essential. You see, if you're keeping company with people who are pushing the narrative that you need to just go out there, you need to just go try new things, you need to just go out there and date, you need to just go out there and see what's happening, you need to, hop on this one to get over the last one. Whenever you are around or surrounded by people who are pushing you, you have to be very strong in who you are. Because, you're in this very vulnerable state, and you're going to have people who are giving their opinions and living vicariously through you, but it's going to be hurting you in the process.
I have a thing.
Tia being so negative about dating grinds my gears. I think that she needs to just like explore what you might want, what you might be interested in. This is to just get the blood flowing in the right places.
What places?
Girl.
I think a lot of, and again, this is all my opinion, I think that a lot of women who go out there and venture out and they feel like they're missing out on something or they're missing out on different things, you know, they don't realize how many women wish that they can say, you know, they wish they could rewind the clock, and then the person who they actually end up with, they're like, you know, if I would have known that life would have led me to you, I would have waited for you. You know, a lot of women have that sense when they find, you know, when they're in a relationship with their person, their husband, who they love so much, they say, you know, if I would have known at this age and stage, I would have met you and I would have been with you, I would have just waited for you. And a lot of women are doing the opposite, right? Because they waited, now they're trying to catch up with everybody else, thinking that they missed out on something, that there was nothing that they're missing out on. Nothing. Just wasted time. Foolishness. Putting yourself at risk with all these people laying with all this different emotion, different energy, all these things that you're putting yourself in at risk of obtaining things that are hard for you to get rid of, just for the sake of quote unquote experience. And other women are applauding this, and other women are supporting this mentality. I think that there's a lot of women who are the quote unquote good girl who need to be told that you are not doing the wrong thing. You're not missing out on anything. You've had this one partner. That's amazing. You know how many women can't say that? There's no need for you to go out here and now try to make up for lost times.
My persona as a celebrity is kind of like the girl next door, the white picket fence.
More and more as I watch certain clips from this show, I realized the reason in which she did not invite her sister Tamara to be on the show. As we know, Tamara did say that, you know, Tia never mentioned to her. She didn't invite her to be on the show.
Tia's returning to reality TV.
I know. I didn't know until I found out with the rest of the world.
Any chance we'll see you on there?
She didn't ask me. So I take that as no.
And I can see why, because, you know, she invited people who she says like, oh, this is my friend. She's like a sister, but your actual sister you did not invite because, in my personal opinion, I believe you did not want her honest opinions to be out there to paint you into a certain way. You didn't want the fact that she is not going to support certain things because of how traditional she is to be out there in a certain light. You didn't want to have people to have anything else negative to say going along with what your sister might be saying on TV. And so you just kind of left her by the wayside and are doing your own thing because you have people around you who are just clapping for you and applauding for you and who are not telling you the real.
Okay, let's say this. I do like tattoos.
Okay.
So that is one thing that I do like.
You want them on the, right, it could be on the
chest.
It could be like a half.
I like the leg.
Okay, you want the thigh?
Another thing is that, you know, there was a lot of different things that Tia was delving in. I think she talked to, at one point she talked to a medium, you know, then she talked to, I believe, somebody else or whatever the case is. And, you know, there was a letting go ceremony that she was having with her friends who threw her a divorce party, and which that's a whole other conversation for a different day. And, you know, her same assistant who's around her, who is promoting the 304 lifestyle to her, who's trying to throw her out there back to the streets, you know, decided to go into Tia's closet and go get her wedding dress and is trying to tell Tia why she should throw her wedding dress into the fire.
It's a really great way to release energy you no longer want. However, I think Tia needs a little something extra to let go of. Something like her wedding dress.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. You can have women around you who you believe have your best interest at heart, and they are promoting the foolishness, but they are also super toxic.
I dug up this whole thing.
Wait a minute, girl. This is my wedding dress. Wow. My actual wedding dress.
What are your thoughts on releasing this bad boy?
Where?
Maybe into the fire?
They are trying to push you down a narrative so that you and them can be on the same level. So you guys can be on the same playing field. They want to push you out there so they can know your business. They want to push you out there because since you've only been with one person, they want you to rack them bodies up so you can catch up to them. I'm not saying that girl has a lot of bodies. I know nothing about her. I'm just saying that most of the time when women get into these predicaments, they surround themselves by people who are throwing them to the street. And they are blindly going over there. And it's distasteful. And, one thing I thought that was very interesting was that through some of the clips that I saw, I think that Tia had mentioned that her son doesn't want to be involved, but like eventually your children will see these things. They will see the conversations that are being spoken about. They're seeing the ways that you are speaking about their dad. They're seeing the ways that you are going and maneuvering yourself as a woman. And do you believe that, the way in which people perceived you before this show, that they're going to perceive you better after the show based off of the things that are being revealed?
Nature's hot pocket.
This whole good girl image that you are trying so hard to run away from, I'm wondering if that is something that is going to be of assistance for you, if that's going to harm you, especially in the dating world. Because if you want to be a hot girl and you want to come out here and you want to show off and you want to get all this experience, a lot of men won't have problems being intimate with you, but being in long-term relationships with you, do you think that is going to be something that's going to assist you or harm you in the long run?
I've had horror stories when it comes to dating. I've dated a grown-ass man who put his grill on the table. I've dated a man who didn't even know what his love languages were.
Again, she spoke about the fact that, she was basically living a lie. She was living a facade. She was pretending to be something that she wasn't. She, felt lonely when she went home. She wasn't happy, obviously, within the relationship. In my personal opinion, I feel like she just was not happy within herself at that time during the relationship. And, all these people that she's mentioning or lack thereof, she went on her promotional tour. She talked about her and Tamara having a tumultuous relationship. And all now, we have not seen Tamara promote this TV show. Okay, Tamara has been doing actually quite the contrary. Tamara made this post on her social media in which she said, do what makes you happy. Scratch that out. Do what glorifies God. And I think that, she's talking about just probably life in general, but this can also be related to, the space that her sister is in within the relationship, right? Like you're just doing whatever makes you happy, whether it's breaking up the family, getting a divorce, going out here trying to, see what the streets is like, dip your toe in the water to test the streets. You're doing all these things that make you feel happy because you were not happy at one point, but are you thinking of the bigger picture? And then she also, this whole conversation is just about her talking about, in my opinion, I feel like the whole show is based around her life after divorce and her constantly talking about Cory, right? Cory was her only. Cory was her first. Cory was her this. Cory was her that. She wasn't happy. He left her lonely. Like all these things about Cory. And Cory is over here posted up on his social media like, I don't have a care in the world. I'm so happy to not have the burden of trying to please somebody who could not be pleased. I think a lot of women have to be honest as well. Her being with Cory for so long, I'm sure that maybe Cory possibly had more experience than Tia when at the time the two of them got married. I'm sure that there was times that, Cory wanted to throw in the towel and actually not be in a relationship with her anymore. It's possible that things could, taken a dip and gotten boring and gotten complacent. All those things are very possible. But, the difference in this situation is that he was willing to stick in the thick of it. He was willing to stay and maintain. He was willing to deal and put his selfish feelings to the side to think of the, greater good of the entire relationship, which it did not seem as though Tia was willing to do so.
At least I know Tia got my back, to the grave. So I know she's with me and she knows I'm with her.
I gotta be honest, I know a lot of people, they hear me have these conversations about Tia. And I've had some people, why do you not like her or whatever. And whenever I have these conversations, it is not personal to the person, but I use these conversations to be of example to other women, right? And I genuinely would hope that she will get it right and get it together, okay? As anybody, right? Everybody goes through things, grows through things, trying to figure certain things out. I would genuinely hope that she can see things from a different lens, past the vulnerability, past, the disguise of what's making you feel good at the moment and seeing things for the reality of what they truly are. As what I hope that for other women who are watching this and hearing this conversation, who have maybe dibble-dabbled with, oh, I gotta, wreck my relationship in order to fulfill or to be happy by myself. And I would hope that people would understand that that's not necessarily how it works. Not just because you leave something means that you are automatically going to be able to snap your fingers and get this happiness that you've been waiting for. Sometimes the very happiness that you're looking for is going to take you staying in that relationship and working through things to get there. That's my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.